We're going to be restoring the Latin Empire of the Spaniards from the North American parts all the way to the southern tip of South America in just the first 6 years of the campaign by early industrializing and using the new treaty mechanics that have made Spain insanely overpowered. Also, I want to make you guys a little bit of a deal. If you enjoy this video, you find it entertaining, or you learn something useful from it, consider subscribing. And if you didn't, take that subscribe away. I'd say that's a pretty fair deal. Honestly, guys, Spain has really gone under the radar in this patch, but that's probably a good thing because we know there's a flavor pack coming that has Spain's name on it, and I'm pretty hyped for that. Until that happens, today we're of course going to be playing Super Toll, just directly owning the Iberian Peninsula and nothing else, and we will be puppeting South America and Central America because we are going to form our own power block, a proper trade league. The Spanish Empire shall be revived. To get this, we need 500 influence though, so let's go ahead and rival some nations from day one. What an aggressive nation the Spaniards are, am I right, guys? First thing they do is rival everybody and their mamas. Unbelievable. All right, well, that's enough nations rivaled. Boom shakalaka. It means we have really bad relations with all the other great powers now, so we will have to improve relations. We're going to be improving with the British, the French, and that's pretty much it. We just need friends in the northern parts of our nation. We can handle ourselves outside of that. Technologically speaking, we are a little bit behind everybody, so we will have to catch up with it. We're going to be researching all the way to water to boiler, and then everything else in the society tier 1 to get to tier 2 and such. We will be removing these consumption taxes. Maybe I'll leave the one on tobacco. Spain does have a surprisingly good amount of states with good resources. We've got 12 million population, so from the get-go we got 2 million peasants we can employ pretty much, and we've got coal, iron in quite a few of our provinces, Valencia being the primary industrial state alongside Navarra and Castile. So I'm going to be doing some social mobility as well as road maintenance wherever I am actively building things to get the construction efficiency, and of course whatever is left authority wise we'll just do social mobility in as many states as possible, just because we need to have our literacy go up as soon as we can so we can increase our innovation cap. That being said though, guys, take note, you don't really want to rush literacy when you're not able to reach your innovation cap. In our case that would be 87 innovation, because the more literacy you have, the lower your birth rate. If you have 100% literacy, you've got minus 10% birth rate, so it's directly correlated. More educated, less kids. We want to have the middle ground for now because we need a lot of population. Because of the 1.9 patch, we start with some treaties, namely the quadruple alliance between us, the Portuguese, the French, and the English, which is bound for 8 years. We're going to keep that alliance for now. In essence, all of Western Europe is one big European Union. See what I did there? Made a reference to the OG European Union, am I right? I've also gone ahead and I've deleted some of my artillery as well as all of my cavalry units. We're keeping this much when it comes to military for now. We're going to slowly increase our military as we progress. For now, this should be it. Also going to be able to get one more promote social mobility here from just increasing my government wages and then lowering them right after. And we're going to make a secondary army, and this army will have only 9 units. Why 9? Because that's the amount of ships that we have, and that's the amount of ships we need to start invading South America. We can also go for level 3 when it comes to our institutions, and legislation wise we have a few choices. We actually can get the rural folk in the government from day 1, and that actually increases our government the legitimacy a bit too. And we're going to do that because we want to pass racial segregation. That way we have more pops that will be accepted, and once we start expanding into South America, it's going to make it easier for us to get pops from South America that are within our power block to start migrating to our homelands here. Come back to Spain, in essence. Can also change some of our production methods to the most efficient ones. We've got a couple of tooling workshops, which is why I am changing to tool production methods, including the sawmills. We also have a few iron mines from day 1 too, so we can change to the iron frame production method our construction sectors. We're going to get some more construction sectors too. I'd say a good 3 up to 5 more construction sectors in Valencia, and then afterwards, of course, we're just basically spamming cotton plantations, logging camps, a lot more iron mines, and obviously tooling workshops too, as required to fulfill the needs of our construction sectors. And we're gonna rinse and repeat do this until we've got a proper industry going for us. When it comes to declared interest, I've basically got all of South America as my declared interest and canceled the ones I had in Scandinavia and Occitania. We don't care about that. Now, first invasion will, of course, be Uruguay, and Uruguay is going to be a very special state because it's going to be the only state we're going to directly own in South America. We're going for the conquest, not for the puppeting of Uruguay. We will eventually give this state away to one of our future puppets, likely Argentina. Now, boys, take note, it is really vital that you do this pretty much from day one of the campaign. If you wait, eventually the Brazilians will have finished both of their rebellious nations here, and once they do, they will back up the Uruguayans, so it's going to be significantly more difficult to get that foothold into South America later. There we go. That was the easiest war ever. Now we also can incorporate this, and speaking of, we can also incorporate Puerto Rico for that matter, or we could give it over to Cuba if you don't want to use it for yourself. Puerto Rico is, I believe, the only slave state that we have in the entire country, so giving it away might not be the worst idea actually. And we have a petition from the intelligentsia. They'd like us to ban a specific law that nobody likes, so yeah, I might actually do that. Giuseppe Garibaldi is also available as an agitator. We obviously will be inviting him over. He supports the liberal movement, which in turn endorses protected speech, proper voting laws, guaranteed liberties, and elected bureaucrats, all laws that we would like to see passed. Now, seeing as we have a border with Argentina, this war should be extremely easy. A lot of the times they actually back down since they have a fearful attitude. We can also add more war goals if we wanted to in order to make sure that they do back down properly. So we could say, for example, impose oligarchy and state religion on them. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. There you go. They did back down. So now we've got a free subject here. We're gonna improve relations with them, and we're gonna start eyeing up the rest of South America. You really want to start pushing into South America earlier in the campaign, because the longer you wait for, the more likely the Americans will start helping the South America. They already actually rivaled me. So what's gonna happen is, especially in the 1.97 patch, I've noticed the Americans really like to enforce their Monroe Doctrine. So you want to push for this before they get strong enough to contest your claims. Oh, look at that. Texas actually made peace with the Mexicans. That's probably the first time I've seen that happen ever. Like, at least this patch, I've never seen that happen. We also managed to secure an alliance with the Brazilians, as well as investment rights. So that should be of help in making sure they don't join on the enemy side when we invade the rest of South America now. Also, seeing as we are starting to get principal debt, I've started privatizing my buildings, which should build up our reserves and will allow us to continue to industrialize. We're also taking back our little colony of Santo Domingo here. I know it's called Haiti, but yeah, we're making some name changes, boys. All right, we're making some name changes to continue to invade within South America. We're gonna need some more ships, so I will be out clicking a few of these. Say an extra 6 ships should be enough. That way we reach 15, and a 15 sized army is a pretty sizable army for invading South American nations right now. Hey, look at that. We also managed to get the racial segregation on the first attempt too, so that's pretty lucky. Now let's go ahead and ban this schlabbery here. We're going to be applying the same tactics to Ecuador. We're going to make it more rough for them not accepting our demands right now, so that way they're more inclined to just becoming our puppet without us actually having to go to war with them, because they do have fearful, and there is only one primary demand right now, which means they're more likely to back down. There you go. As I just said, that's a nice little tactic you guys could always use if you're attacking a smaller nation. They're fearful, add extra war goals, which you don't care about really, just so they have some reasons to back down before you enforce all of those demands. One issue we do have as the Spaniards is the lack of wood. I'm spamming some logging camps right now in Iberia, but most of our wood will come from the colonies. I'm also going to do a little cheeky agreement with the Portuguese. Let's just call this quick, sneaky African Squeaky. Yeah, that's totally a treaty name right there. I'm giving them trade privileges, and in return, they're giving me the ability to build in their country, and they're transferring the state of Lorenzo Marquez to me by me using the obligation that we have on them. There's a 60% chance they're going to accept this, so if we really want to make sure that they accept it and there's no issue, we could add something like military assistance. So that's not the worst idea. There you go. They will 100% accept the treaty now. So we just got the province of Lorenzo Marquez Marquis, which makes this our first foothold into Eastern Africa. We also can get more dyes in this province, which is also one of the reasons I wanted to get it in the first place. Because one of my early plans is, alongside industrializing, build up a proper textile industry and then start trading those clothes to the rest of Europe, get them to be really dependent on us, and then have them at our fingertips because they're literally buying all of our Zara clothes. Totally not made in Bangladesh. They're made in South Africa, apparently. Doing the exact same tactic with the Central Americans. Fearful -76. I really don't think they want us to liberate Costa Rica from them now, do they? Come on. Oh, really? They actually don't give a shit? Bro, these Central Americans, they are brave hombres, that's for sure. Well, I'm still not going to enforce that because I don't want my puppet to have lands liberated from it, that's for sure. I'm also attacking Central America first because a lot of the times after the Americans win the wars against Mexico, what happens is they invade Central America and New Granada, and I especially want these two states to stay with me because I would like to build a Panama Canal myself and not leave it in the hands of the Americans. All right, I'm going to propose only that we make them a protectorate. That way they don't liberate Costa Rica. All right, beautiful. We got another puppet for the puppet machine. How many are we up to now? We've got 7 members already. Holy schnitzel, and we literally just started the campaign. I'm telling you guys, in this patch especially, Spain is absolutely overpowered, and you'll see as I'm progressing why. No, Garibaldi is exiled. Oh, that's unfortunate. We're also going to need to start our own domestic production of lead, and I'm going to do that in the state of Catalonia because we have a lot of people unemployed in this state alongside some coal mines. We're also going to get in the state of Navarra and even Castile. Both of these have enough infrastructure right now to sustain some buildings. They want to, sure. You know what? I'm okay with charity sometimes. I'm giving guns to the Portuguese as charity, guys. It's actually worked out for us because it increases the demand for arms industries, which we didn't have that much of because we did disband quite a few of our units, right? Speaking of, we probably also want to start hiring back some units in a couple of years. Hey, we banned this on the first attempt. That's crazy, bro. I'm actually going to save. This doesn't always happen. Shalabbery, bland. You might also be inclined to go for per capita taxation in your runs. Don't do that. It's kind of bait. You can just push for proportional taxation and you end up making way more money. But yes, it does mean you have to sacrifice a little bit of time before you do that because obviously to get proportional, you need to go over to egalitarianism, which is not the fastest thing to get. You know what? I might change some things here. I'll wait for the atmospheric engine to finish and then we can just rush for egalitarianism. How many technologies we're short here? We're 3 technologies short in the tier 1. That means that it's going to be 7,500 more innovation to research egalitarianism ahead of time. So it's not worth it. We got to get all 3 of these techs before we get egalitarianism. We'll do that and we're going to do water tube boilers after. I think we can handle it. And plus I will start spamming some universities also now. Let's say a couple of unis in every single state that we basically have should be enough for the time being. Also in Valencia, we could fix our infrastructure issues by actually subsidizing these ports. Ports also give a tiny bit of infrastructure, so it might be worth it. There you go. Atmospheric engine pumps, beautiful. That means we can switch over to the atmospheric engine pump production method, which in turn means we need coal. So we're gonna have to put at the top of the queue both of the coal mines in Castile and Navarra, and in the meanwhile just give max subsidies for importing of coal. We're doing max ones because on the world market most likely iron, coal, tools are going to be in high demand. There you go. 35 shortage of coal, 145 shortage of iron. So I'm going to queue up a ton more iron afterwards. Let's see how much we get from this switching the production method first. Surprisingly, we have quite a lot of support for cultural exclusion, which would be the ideal law for us. Oh, problem is that there are other laws we want to pass, such as homesteading. By getting this law, and there's not much opposition for it right now, would be huge. So I'll attempt it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right, we're going to go for the 3.5k progress for water tube boilers as well. And I'm going to get some more ships. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for now should be fine. We can have an army of 20 units, which will be our naval invasion force. That should be enough to take care of Chile and everybody else left in South America, hopefully. Back down. They did back down. I also prioritize Venezuela over New Granada right now because what happens is Venezuela tends to get an alliance with the Dutch. I don't know why. It just happens a lot in my particular games, at least. And whilst the Dutch might not be an issue, if if the Dutch join on their side, then automatically the freaking Americans do too. So I'd rather not have to fight two other big powers just to get Venezuela, right? We're gonna go for Chile next. That way we have all of the southern tip of South America, and I'm gonna be revoking their claims on Patagonia simply so I let the Argentinians colonize all of Patagonia. And almost every single game I've got, Patagonia gets fully colonized by Chile, and I hate the borders when they look like that. It's just like a little bit of an OCD that I have. You don't need to cancel their claims. It's just, again, it's my little OCD there. Oh, new production methods, boys. So slaughterhouses means we use a lot more tools, and we also got one more university, which is pretty cool. But we also have the ability to change to steel tools now, as well as sulfing paper. So what should we prioritize next? We need a steel mill. We need a steel mill in Valencia. We also need sulfur mines, and luckily for us, we can build them domestically in West Andalusia before we run out, and then we can start building in South America in our colonies, as well as we're gonna need, you guessed it, more tools. So I'm going to change this now, and I'm going to see if there is any steel in the world market in the meanwhile to change my tooling workshop's production method. There is a little bit, but there is some shortage of it, so it's not going to be enough. We're going to have to wait for my steel mill to finish. That means we're going to have to redo again the production queue here. We're going to have that steel mill and sulfur mine prioritized. All right, if we bring in the Brazilians, the Chileans 100% will back down. So come on, Chile, back the freaking schnitzel dope down. There you go. I freaking knew it. Oh, yes, baby. We basically got all of South America, and it's literally 1842. That's just crazy, man. We're doing the same tactic, calling in Brazil against Bolivia, as well as calling in the Chileans against Bolivia and returning Antofagasta to them, because I don't mind actually breaking up the Chilean bits, the Bolivian bits a little bit more. So now let's bring our units by the border, and again, they should back down. I'm doing this now. I know I'm going over the 25 infamy limit I was talking about earlier, because if I don't do it now, once they unify with the rest of Peru, they will cost around 30 infamy rather than 12 or whatever it costs me right now. Oh wow, we actually can even call Quito and Argentina in. Return Juju. You know what? Frick it. We're gonna be cannibalizing the entirety of Bolivia right now. Let's do it. I got a feeling these guys are also gonna be fighting me right now, so I expect a proper challenge here. Also, we have basically failed the legislation. Let's go ahead and go for dedicated police force, just because we should be able to pass this fairly easy, and we need a win when it comes to legislations too, right? There you have it, boys. The world's easiest war imaginable. We got back lands to Argentina, to Chile, and we've got Carchas as our protectorate, whilst Peru unified, and it is a protectorate of Carchas. Charcas? I guess Charcas would be the actual pronunciation. Carchas would be the anglicized version, right? I will wait before I invade anybody else a tiny bit now, so let's go ahead and fix our domestic issues, starting with changing those production methods I was talking about earlier. Steel tools, sulfite paper, and we're going to get a secondary steel mill in Valencia, as well as it's time we get an artillery foundry. We're going to get that in Toledo, actually. And speaking of Toledo, we're also going to get some motor industries in Toledo. It probably is smarter getting it in Valencia, but I'm running out of infrastructure and population in Valencia, so we want to spread this out a little bit as well now, especially since our market access is not as bad as it was at the start. We got roughly around 85 around the country now, so it's only 15% more expensive importing goods from our other states. Also going to be spamming some more paper mills because it's in super high demand right now on the world market. So I'm going to have 5 paper mills as well as a couple of extra sulfur mines to make sure we have enough sulfur for these paper mills. And then we can use that to trade in the world market. So we're going to need some trade centers in Western Andalusia also afterwards. Say we got 2 right now. Let's see how this goes. We might need a couple more though. I'm also going to need some more construction sectors too. So I'm going to spam 1 extra construction sector and then more as required and as possible, of course, because we don't have enough resources for a million construction sectors now, do we? Declared interest wise, we have all of South and Central America basically with provinces owned by us, so we can focus on the Middle East and Africa with our next declared interest now. Let's actually start getting some in Castile, 3 construction sectors in Castile, because we got 21 infrastructure there, so that's pretty decent. And iron is also starting to pile up as a shortage, so let's go ahead and get some more iron as well in Castile, and also spam some more universities because we still have a pretty significant shortage shortage of that. I'm actually going to get 3 in each of the main industrial states, since we need those qualifications for the pops in those provinces. Oh, we got our first mandate. Oh my god, what an amazing day. We're getting 14 mandate from minor power members. Holy mother, if only we weren't fractured, that would make a massive difference. So that's a result of the fact that we don't have great relations with our subjects, which is something I'm actively working on improving. I'm obviously going to go for construction as my first principle, because we need that extra state construction efficiency. Oh, we got railways. It is over. We are going to be seriously overpowered as consequence. We don't need to worry about infrastructure anymore, so we can make Valencia the greatest state ever. We're also very close to getting the leverage over the Portuguese to perhaps invite them peacefully into our trade league. One thing that is really killing us here is the fact that we have a fractured trade league. So once we're able to get good relations with the rest of the trade league nations, we should be able to increase our leverage over the Portuguese considerably. And I also believe we have a one Zever. Whoa, Texas has grown, and they also they're not friendly with the Americans are damaging their relations with okay. This is not normal. The Americans should be improving their relations with the Texans because they have the journal entry. You know what? Maybe it's time for us to get an interest in the North American continent. Also going to be spamming some general industry buildings such as textile mills and furniture manufacturers around my country. So I have some jobs for my peeps, as well as these are in pretty high demand already. So we're going to make some money off of these buildings too, obviously, as well as we're increasing our standard of living from it. Oh, Charcas is attacking Peru. And look at that shortage. 101 shortage of paper. I'm gonna get so filthy rich from just spamming right now paper and iron. It's crazy. Oh baby, condensed engine pumps. We are literally on fire right now. Oh freaking boy, we got proportional taxation, guys. We basically got what we need to become the industrial empire we always knew we could be. So that means we could probably speed up and get some more construction sectors as well. Let's say get another 4 in Valencia for now, should be fine. And I've also gone ahead and I spent 7 infamy to lower the autonomy of Argentina. No, I kind of have to say it. It sucks saying this out loud, but this really started out as one of my favorites patches, by far one of my favorite, ended up being one of the worst because the amount of bugs is just overshadowing everything else. And then aside from the bugs, the fact that they made things just not fun sucked. Like for example, right, I was able before to get treaty ports in France and so on. Now I cannot because it's got minus 1,000 acceptance because it's a great power, right? So there is no chance, no matter what you give them, of you ever getting a treaty port there. Why is that even a feature if you're not able to use it anymore? Sure, it was abused sometimes at greater cost and such. You can find ways around fixing the cheeses and stuff without just making that feature unavailable. What's the point of the feature having been added then if you cannot use it? It's just nonsensical to me. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm sure it's going to get better optimized and better made in the future, maybe if they come back to fixing these kind of balance issues. I don't know. Thieves and liars! I didn't know the Romanian government is part of Victoria 3 option. Also can start lowering manually the autonomy of our subjects now. And we've got access to munition plants, so let's get one of these in Toledo. That way we're going to be able to upgrade our units to skirmishers once we have general staff research. Oh my god, the Prussians and the Austrians are at it. Let me guess. It's the war for unification. Wait, did they literally just finish the war in between the second that I clicked on the nation? What? Who won? I need to know this. Come on, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say that it's likely the Prussians lost because they're not yet North Germany from what I'm noticing. Oh, wow. Peru was reduced to a single province that I'm pretty sure is not even a part of Peru in today. Wait, is this actually a part of Peru today? Does Peru literally cut off Ecuador from Brazil completely? Are the Peruvians literal cucks? I need to look at the map. Oh my god, this is worse than I imagined. Not only did they cuck them from reaching Brazil, but they conquered half of their country. What? When did the Peruvians grab this much of Wow. My opinion of Peruvian people has changed completely and forever. I like them even more now. I'm just kidding. I like you guys all the same. Start an embargo against the Americans. Yeah, sure. I don't mind that. And now, seeing as we do have a lot of extra infamy points lying around, we have two options. We can either continue to expand into the rest of the world, which wouldn't be the worst idea, or just make all the South American, Latin South American nations that we have as puppets, make them into puppets, not protectorates. Boom! Chile! Welcome to the Pupeticus. We're also able to change to the philosophy department now, and I believe we can also get some more universities too without completely collapsing economically. Let's get 8 of them in our capital. You know what would be really awesome? If universities gave you prestige. Oh my god, what an insane concept! Prestige from universities, and maybe actually add jobs like doctors, teachers in the base game. That would be really a actually good idea, I think. Oh my god, am I actually gonna fail this law? 2 setbacks on ascent phase. This is actually the worst. Bro, again? Oh my god, 400 shortage of paper. What is happening here, man? Oh, it might be because we're building all of these universities. What do you guys think? And I forgot to let my paper mills actually build first, so maybe we should prioritize building those before we get any more universities. I'd say might not be the worst idea. I really hate this game. Like, what is this, man? What really is this shit? Literally the only thing I ever wanted was passing cultural exclusion. You're not even giving me that game. I was on ascent phase, for Christ's sake. All right, we do have some major shortages of wood and furniture, so let's go ahead and get some of those buildings done. Say, get some jobs for our peeps in our country. I was gonna build logging camps in my colonies, but I just have so many pops in my country right now without jobs that it really is a bit of a priority right here. Similarly, we need those furniture manufactories everywhere, not only for the jobs, but also because it would be cheaper to build them here. So I kind of screwed over my entire infamy game here. We're up to 79, but it will pay off in the future. We're basically paying right now 50 infamy so we can make the Mexicans our subjects. We're doing this also because if we don't, what's going to happen is the Americans is going to attack Mexico, take the good juicy lands into the west, and then we will have to compete with the Americans. This way, we get the Mexicans as our subject. The Americans will never be able to grab the western parts, and we're going to basically outshine them for the rest of the campaign. And of course, they also back down because they're pussies. I mean, because clearly they're not any sort of challenge for the mighty French Empire. Did I say French when I mean Spanish? Also, I'm gonna save this up here because this is the complete Hispaniorum, as I like to call it. I'm gonna put this save on my Discord if you want to check it out. You can continue from this point. Basically, every single Spanish-speaking country in the world belongs to us now as a puppet, and we can also lower the autonomy for these as well and make them into puppets. I'm not doing it yet because Paraguay is close to being disloyal, so I want to fix Paraguay's situation and New Granada situation before lowering the autonomy of Venezuela, Quito, and Charcas as well. And yes, in case you're wondering, we're actually chilling. From now on, we're only focusing on properly industrializing the Iberian Peninsula, nothing else, seeing as we need to wait until our infamy goes down below 25, right? Pretty bad right now. Let's check how bad it is. Our subjects are getting 0.25 increase in liberty desire from infamy, which is not ideal. We do have 100% excess of influence, so our infamy decays 25% faster, but it's still not fast enough. And also we need more construction sectors, so let's max out the ones in Castile. And seeing as I'm kind of worried I might get attacked by somebody, I will be getting some more soldiers. So let's make our main army have 25 infantry and 25 artillery, or yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So we need more artillery. There you go. Yay! Homesteading only took 3 freaking attempts. Yes, shitty ass legislation. Now let's attempt again to go for this stupid ass legislation. Oh, and we got our first company, guys. Huzzah! So I'm curious to see what unique companies we have right now available to us. Believe La España Industrial is one of them. 15% innovation gained or lost each week. Ooh, that's pretty good. And we also get designer clothes prestige good from this. Altos Hornos de Vizcaya is pretty good also. We get refined steel, 10% infrastructure, and it affects steel mills, iron mills. We would need some steel mills in Vizcaya though. Similarly, Duro y Campania is about the same, but it focuses on military throughput. Wow. Okay, that's actually really cool to see. Coal mines required in Asturias for that one. All right, considering everything, I will be going for the Spanish Steel Syndicate. Classic company, I know, but it is required because we want to get the construction bonus here, the efficiency. And this company, we also can give it the coal mines, iron mines. Both of these charters are really, really good for it early on in the campaign. Oh, yes, baby. Canned meat. Question is, what kind of meat are we canning? eh? Wood is in a massive shortage now. Paper, furniture, and tools. Okay, we can spam all of those. Now, you might call me a little bit of a scumbag, but I'm gonna take advantage of Texas not yet having fallen over to the Americans to take it for myself. I'm so sure that these guys are insanely upset with me right now. There you go. Free Texas for all. And we can also get our third principle. I will be going for the advanced research, as now I actually do have reached my innovation cap, so we can just get more innovation as consequence from our 3 levels of education. Oh, a new production methods. What is this trickery and magic? Speaking of, can you guys imagine what it must have been like for people born in the early 1900s that lived all the way till the end of the 1900s? They went from literally horse-driven carts building their houses out of clay and horse poop to still horse and carts and building their houses out of clay and poop if you live where I'm from. Kudal Galat, shout out to my boys back in Romania. No, pretty much. I grew up in the 90s. My family was gathering up like 50 relatives, building up another family member's house out of poop, horse and cow poop, straw, and clay. That's literally it. And we still have today in 2025 mostly horse-driven carts, where I'm from at least. Yeah, I know Bucharest and the big cities in Romania are advanced and fancy and shit, but no, that's not all of Romania, trust me. We're still pretty cool. We're cool. Thieves and liars. I mentioned Romania. All of a sudden, the parliament showed up. Oh my god, we actually passed the legislation that we need. Unbelievable. Okay, let's also try and go for freedom of conscience. That would be of huge help right now. Also, guys, here's another little thing a lot of you might not know. Having conscripts actually makes it more expensive to maintain your armies. So let me point that out, right? If we get all the conscripts right now that we can possibly get, which is apparently 57, we're paying 6.97 thousand for the upkeep. Whilst if we get rid of these conscripts, we pay literally half of that. Obviously, these pops are not used by the army until they actually are conscripted, but you still pay the maintenance. So remember that, because you pay the maintenance on the goods. And the bonus from that is that it will actually matter when it comes to bullying nations. So basically, they will be more likely to cave to whatever demand you have if you have conscripts already attached to your armies, right? That's why I was able to get a lot of those fearful attitudes from the nations I was attacking. Ooh, Identifikationen Dokumentus. Ja, schnell. Sorry, I got all those German tourists in my country right now. Seeing as our infamy is insanely high and our liberty desire is increasing, one easy way to lower that liberty desire is to just evangelize all of their provinces. Take note, sometimes it might increase their liberty desire depending on their laws, so you got to make sure you read the fine print here before you actually do start evangelizing. There you go. For example, Paraguay will have its liberty desire increased if we evangelize, as Paraguay has the freedom of conscience, church, and state legislation compared to Quito, for example, which has the state religion, church, and state legislation. Oh my god, the Americans and the British are attacking the Brazilians, which are now fearful. They want to change regime in their country. What kind of a regime would that be? Monarchy? Well, okay, so it's basically not much of a change, actually. Okay, the British are just being bullies right now. Look at this. They're changing regime in Egypt for no reason whatsoever. Also, I just saw the Ottomans got the entirety of the North Egyptian parts. I have to say, out of all winners in this patch, the Ottomans are the biggest winners, because pretty much every single time the Ottomans win the war against the Egyptians, and they have such an easy time getting their Tanzimat done, which is cool, because I like to see that once in a while too, not just the alternatives. We're starting again to get money, so it's time to get more construction sectors. We do not want to be on the positive with our financial gains. We want to always be improving ourselves and increasing our construction efforts. Also, I'm noticing that ammunition is in pretty high demand too. Maybe I should spam a couple more ammunition plants. Also, about the same usual suspects on the world market, including more ammunition is in demand. Is there a big world war about to come up? Big question. Now we're also getting mandates super freaking fast. Every 20 months we're getting one mandate because we are not any longer fractured. We are controlled, so we get an extra 10% progress for the mandate alongside having 18 from minor powers and being ranked number 4 ourselves, giving +2. We're also going to set up our fertilizer and our explosive factories in West Andalusia. West Andalusia is in essence our best state when it comes to certain productions because of the sulfur mines that it has. So that sulfur trickles into paper, trickles into fertilizer plants and explosive plants. So they all work in tandem here without having to pay pay for the extra 15% market access import fees basically from other states. And yes, apparently we can get even more construction sectors. So let's get another 5 in Valencia. I'm not being as aggressive as I probably should be also. I should just be spamming wars across Africa right now, but I don't know. I don't want to do that, to be honest. Maybe I'll just break up Brazil, which is technically still friendly with me, and puppet it afterwards when I divide it. Also kind of expecting the Americans to attack me any moment for the Mexican land, so I'm kind of trying to be ready for that, not have any active wars. I probably will do more wars once I'm below 25 infamy though. Oh my god, Mexico! They've got 500,000 peasants in Mexico City. That is crazy. I'm just gonna make Mexico my textile manufactory right here. I do love the fact that having all of South America as puppets is genuinely so overpowered. Like so freaking overpowered. Like the amount of population that you get migrating into the Americas basically means you never have to have issues when it comes to pops. You've got a ton of resources all over the Americas as well, so you basically just won the game by grabbing all of this stuff early on in the campaign when the other major powers don't give a schnitzel about it. Oh, look at that. The Prussians are unifying. Oh dear, we gonna have a Germany. Good thing I'm improving relations with them, but they still absolutely hate my guts for some reason. Our power block is also second in the world already, so we can get our 4th principle because we're second in the world. Companies would honestly be a really great principle, but at the same time, I also want to get as many pops as possible to develop the Spanish area, so I'm gonna go for freedom of movement. I might change my construction principle over to the company principle though, so I get the extra free company charter, free company itself, and company throughput bonus. That would be the best option, really. All right, I'm also gonna go for España Industrial just because it's a unique, flavorful company for the Spanish, and because I really kind of want to get that innovation bonus. We really want to be ahead of everybody else with technology. We are starting to properly catch up to, but we need more universities and more innovation. So let's actually go ahead and spam a buttload more of these. Say another 10 of these for now should be, actually, you know what, 20 of these should be fine in Toledo for now. And seeing as we do have that extra pop, so we can get some more construction sectors as well. Yay! Everybody's freedom to have a conscience is here, guys. Okay, that means we can actually make some efforts now and go towards public schools. Passing this is absolutely paramount. We might have to change our government to make this work though, so let's go ahead and get an industrialist intelligentsia government for now. Once we've passed this, we're also going to attempt to get a voting system, which we have a massive amount of endorsement for, and then we're going to follow that up with perhaps public health insurance. We don't have too much support for this, sadly. Pretty much only the trade unions want this, so we might go for no health insurance first, and then from no health insurance we will have some support to go for public health insurance. Let's see how things turn out. I've also been building in my subjects a buttload, because not only does it lower the autonomy, but it also makes them stronger and more useful, which is why I only have 39 million GDP. If I was focusing primarily on building in my own country, it would be a lot more right now. Now, is that a good idea or a bad idea? I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. How do we still have so much shortages, man? Oh, the mass migrations have begun, boys. First the Portuguese alongside the Germans, holding hand in hand. We also have the option of going for colonial exploitation. I wasn't going to prioritize this. I wanted to go for a voting system, but honestly, not the worst idea going for this too, so we can reestablish our colonial empire, I guess. And it's also time that we continue our expansion into the African parts, especially Medina is a huge one because it does have all those juicy coal mines that we're going to need and the rubber. Finally, we can start colonizing again like real nations, and all of these colonial possessions might be traded to the British in exchange for them giving us Gibraltar without us having to break that delicious defensive alliance we managed to get going. Also, if we manage to pass free trade, it's going to be a massive game changer for us because we can put more of our goods on the market. All right, so our next target, boys, is the Moroccans, because we want to secure our southern borders, and the Egyptians join on the side of the Moroccans. So what we're going to do is we're going to liberate Sudan and we're going to liberate the Hejaz because we just want to make the Egyptians weaker, and we're scumbags. That's basically why. Of course they back down. Just when I wanted to wreak some havoc in the Egyptian parts, these bastards, they're too good for us. Also, innovation wise, at this point we have reached our cap, and we also have quite a little bit of extra university, so the rest of the innovation is spilling over into technology spread, which is not the worst thing. I also need to prioritize a little bit my army, so I'm gonna be going for ironclads and torpedo boats afterwards, so we modernize our fleet, as well as we're gonna go repeaters, breech loader artillery, and work our way towards trench work, so we get those trench infantry to match up with, well, actually we already do match up, but we want to have better better units than the rest of the world. I'm also going to change my social mobility decrees to a greener grass campaign, since we want to attract as many pops as possible in our main industrial hubs. Oh my god, no matter what I do, Chile is still going to have Patagonia, isn't it? So they clearly were in the process of colonizing Patagonia before I revoked their claim, which is why they're still able to colonize it. Bruh. Again, ugly ass Argentinian borders. I hate this. Oh my god, Romanian mass migration. Holy schnitzel. Maybe a little bit early for those type of migrations though. We've got a lot of support for census suffrage, which is why I'm going for that law up next. That would also be our very first voting system, by the way. We're skipping through landed voting and everything else in the process. Also, I almost have the same amount of GDP as the Mexicans. Why is that? Because I've mostly been building in freaking Mexico. If Mexico breaks away, I mean, they're super loyal. That is not going to be an issue. But if they do at some point decide they want to be disloyal, I am screwed. I've been putting all of my bees and honeys in my colonies, and I'm not sure that was the best choice. I don't know anymore. Meanwhile, in Spain itself, we do have shortages of population, so I've started switching over my production methods to decrease the amount of laborers being used, but it's still not enough. We do need a lot more population to start migrating to the old world. Come back from the new one, back to the old boys. We do have a sizable amount of migrants, however, so I'm not complaining about pops too much though, because we do have a lot of people from the Balkans, for example, that are migrating to our provinces, which are quite a lot of them actually. I don't know what's happening in the Ottoman Empire. Oh, Romania formed. Oh, that's so freaking cool. Oh, the Ottomans must have failed their Tanzimas, didn't they? They did. They absolutely did. Unrecognized major power. Okay, that explains a lot why I've been getting everybody from the Balkans to my provinces. And from Poland apparently too. That's a new one. That also means we got free real estate in North Africa now, so we made Tunis a protectorate. We're going to be doing the same to the Tripolians. Actually, are they a protectorate of anyone? No, but it does seem like the Americans might want a piece of that, so we got to get this before the Americans do. Also, let's check what's happening with our political parties. That's bad. We cannot even form a government with what's happening right now, so we got to thread this very carefully now. Maybe we should just go for universal suffrage. Screw it, brother. We should have just gone for universal suffrage from before, honestly. And we've got the torpedo boats, which means we can upgrade our ships now. Unfortunately, we cannot upgrade all of our ships to torpedo boats straight because we do not have the middleman. We have to upgrade them to monitors before we upgrade them to torpedo boats, which is quite stupid if you ask me, because if you look at the research here, you actually can basically get torpedo boats before you get monitors. And let me put it this way, torpedo boats are way better than monitors. So what is this? Why is this not in the right order? Like, actually, what is happening here, bro? In any case, that means I have to literally delete all my ships and then basically build an entirely new fleet of torpedo boats. Like, what? Actually, what? All right, we're doing that. We're getting an entire new fleet of torpedo boats, boys. And it seems like World War I is starting for the lowering of autonomy of Quito, which is just absolutely peachy. We got the British on our side defending us as good old allies, and we got the Americans being Americans, so we're gonna have to teach them a bit of a lesson. Ain't no freaking way I'm gonna let you get away with this, Americans. I'm actually curious to see what their war goals are. They want to return Panama. You've never had it, US. You've never freaking had it. Jeez. And I'm sorry, what? Returning of all of Granada and... Does Quito want to form Great Colombia or Grand Colombia? What is it called? I forgot the formable. Grand Colombia, right? My god, Quito is an aggressive little Schnitzeldorf. I'm also going to be doing, speaking of aggressive Schnitzeldorfs, an invasion into Belgium. Wait a second. I don't have a fleet because I just remembered I disbanded my fleet so I can recruit better units. Isn't this just a peachy, boys? Absolute peachy. Okay, we basically won against Quito. Now we got to get rid of Belgium and freaking USA. At least, you know what? At least this way the Americans lose some population, right? Because they will be grinding, because I'll be making sure they're the only ones pushing. Also, at this point, the only thing that's going to save us is going for electrical technologies. So let's actually cancel military statistics and go and queue up the electrical generation first, because population issues are massive, man. I'm putting everybody to work, but the thing is, even with all the migrants and the birth rate and everything, it is still insanely slow. I'm talking snail level slow. Oh, maybe if I open my borders completely, it's going to be a bit of a... Yeah, definitely. Okay, we need to have no migration control. Of course, I've also decided that I'm going to go a full-on corporation in this playthrough, and that means we get one extra company as well as more charters that we can give out. That's because we have literally become a corporate state. It's It's a very unique thing to do as the Spanish, that's for sure. I'm also kind of sure that's the nationalist flag. Take that as you will. Now we can also go for restricting child labor and perhaps compulsory primary education once we get the technology. The first states that I'm going to be electrifying are going to be the main industrial states, and then the rest of them will follow suit, of course. Okay, we're starting to increase our population in our industry at a massive rate now. I'm getting a lot more migrants since I passed open migration borders, and I've also done some changes with my trade on the world market. So now we have way more pops than we expected to, and I'm expecting the population to double in just the next few years. We have in essence started properly snowballing now. We've discovered automobiles. It is so Jover. Oh my god, I'm gonna spam the schnitzel out of automobiles. 1894, and we finally cracked the 200 mil GDP line. It's been a steady approach, that's for sure. Meanwhile, Mexico managed to go back to protectorate level from puppet, because otherwise I would have struggled a little bit more. And they're up to 74 million GDP with 21 mil population, 17.2 standard of living as well, and 50% literacy. So honestly, Mexico is doing pretty freaking good, man. And yes, I am basically the one that's building most of their industry, but it is what it is. They're close to being below 25, so when that happens, I will be, of course, making them a puppet again. Also, we are massively lacking electricity for most of our industries now, so I have queued up a lot of electrical power plants, but we do need a buttload more. I think honestly, I need about 50 power plants in each one of my main states. Also going to be switching more of my buildings to the steel frame production method since we can afford it. And of course, as consequence, we need to get more glass works. We only have a few right now, so it's definitely not enough. Apparently, we can build some in Mexico too. Why the schnitzel not? But yeah, Valencia, Navarra, Toledo, and Castile should be the main ones here. Plus, I'm going to make sure they only produce glass. I'm going to cancel their bone china production completely in these particular states at least. All right, Mexico, time for you to become a new Spain once more. Holy, a beautiful color on the map. I love this. I really love this. So now they should be okay. Problem before was prestige, but I fixed my prestige issue by just increasing the amount of soldiers and ships that I have now. Speaking of, I probably want to get some more of these. I'm thinking another 40 ships should do the work for now. And there you go. All of our buildings to steel frame production method is fine, and we can actually handle that. Third army here does not have enough artillery. In fact, it has no artillery, so we're gonna have to get some. I think 50 should be enough, and then we can make a fourth army, which is again only gonna have infantry for now, and then we just add up to that fourth army the rest of the requirements. I like to keep my armies actually small, 50 infantry, 50 artillery, because that way I can move them around as required between different fronts when I have bigger wars. Not just for this campaign, in general, I mean. Look at this, guys. Together with all of our colonies, we've got 514 million GDP. Holy shit, man. What the hell is happening here? Also, can we take a moment to pray G for the Japanese, which are still a shogunate, and they're in the Russian Empire power block. Oh god. Don't tell me they are a protectorate of Russia. Oh, this is horrible. This is the worst outcome. What? I hope you guys enjoyed the Latin world restoration run. If you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and until the next time, take care of yourself.